Good morning, Rabbi Isai. So we receive a lot of these kind of emails, but this one was a little different and actually made a bunch of guys cry. I sent it to all the people that worked on the tri-state area tour. And within a minute or so, I got back 3-4 replies, and I have them here on the screen. It says like this: Dear Rebelli, I don't even know how to properly thank you for how you're changing my life. I attended your shir in Ateres Golden Borough Park, even though I've never watched the shir before. I never dreamed that I would join, but I was just curious to see what it would be like. I'm at a yeshiva for almost 20 years, with a very, very busy life, and other than occasionally studying homework with my son, I pretty much have not cracked the sefer for all that time. In 20 years, he hasn't cracked the sefer, besides when he fumfes with his child. He pretends he knows better than the child. Really, the child probably knows better than him. When the shir in Borough Park was over and you had given all those reasons of excuses that people give not to join, I literally heard myself talking, giving all those excuses. I said, it's enough. It's about priority. And I decided then and there, I came over to you and I told you I'm a kabel and committing myself to every day. It's been over 12 days so far, but so far it's 12 out of 12 and I'm never giving up. I used to always feel like an outcast on Shavuos night in Simchas Torah, feeling so distant from the Torah. This year, when I stayed up learning the whole night of Shavuos, I felt excited and part of the learning people. I felt amazing. Thank you so much for what you do for me and everyone else. And he says, I'm in the middle of watching this shir as we speak. The most amazing feeling of finishing the first perek. Can't explain it. Haven't done that in 20 years. May Hashem bench you, Kevel Keflayim. Your talmud forever, Mendel from Borough Park. And then there's a voice note here from Nisanel. He says, it brought a tear to my eye, and it was worth, because we just came off a Zoom meeting where we discovered that the trip probably cost us more than, out of pocket for MDY, more than $50,000. So he says it's worth every penny. And then it says over here, I see you, Mom, shaking your head, Avi. And over here also from Yossi Klein, worth every penny. No, that was from Saul Rosenberg. Worth every penny invested. Oh, gave me tears. That's from Yossi Klein. So Lemaisa, sometimes these emails, you should know, they're not just entertaining, but they're mechazik, the guys that are involved, the guys that work really hard behind the scenes. Tomer also saw this email and he sent me a whole long thing, spiel about this. So yishkoyach for the email. Thanks for giving us the chizuk. And if you have a similar story, why not share it? Give other people chizuk. Dear Rebelli, I enjoyed tremendously your shir. Thank you for this. The photo attached is my father took me learning today's daf with a real copy of a get my grandfather gave me. He's a dayan in Muncie. Please tell Rabbi Seltzer the iPad is tagged kosherized, only Torah anytime and all daf. David Kaufman, your talmud since Megillah. So this kid is doing it since Megillah. Unbelievable. I don't know. The screens are not working. Gary, what's going on?
Mission ready! Good morning, Rabbi Isai!
Hatzola Eir. Good morning, Rabbi Isai. The Koil is sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The Masechta by Moshe Banda to thank Hashem that I'm able to thank Him for everything that I have. Parnassa Chodesh, leilu nishmos, Zecharya ben Moshe. That's it. One Parnassa Chodesh. We're down to one. The Parnassa Yoim, brain intact, should be Zoichet and Achzik Kedusha and tremendous success in all my endeavors. Parnassa Yoim, Joseph Goldburd, leilu nishmos, Harav Zundel ben Harav Yosef Chaim Alter, a talmud of the Chofetz Chaim. And the third Parnassa Yoim, success in Parnassa, the art of the month for complete refuah for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah. I received a number of emails about that sponsorship that said whoever had a hard time in the first parak. And then there was an explanation from the guy himself. He said that he didn't mean the learning was difficult. He meant that people that are going through a tkufa of divorce and separation, this bracha was to them. So, yishkoyach for the explanation. All right, here we go. Rabbi Isai, Geshmak Sugis today. We're holding 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, of course, 10 lines from the bottom to this Amud Beis. Boy Ilfa asks Ilfa, Yadayim tahoros lachatzoin in tahoros lachatzoin. We know today we wash our hands for Amoitzi. It's a gzera of Chachamim. Even if your hands are tar, you should wash your hands. with a revius of water. A revius of water, even according to Chazon Ish, I think is like 96 milliliters. It's not a whole lot. It's a very small amount. It's probably like something like this amount of water. What? Yeah, but I'm showing half. You see the water is not the whole cup. Okay. And so Mela, he wants to know, based on the whole sugya that we had until now, we said if one person comes and says b'fanei nechtav, the other person says b'fanei nechtav, could you be mitzayir if two different people? Then the Gemara asked yesterday, what if you have a wall that's 5 tfachim and another 5 tfachim? Somebody also sent in an email. I didn't have time to read all these emails, but he's just a kiss from Hashem. He's learning Masech Sukkah, and he just was learning the sugya that he has a wall of 9 tfachim in a sukkah, and then he dug out a tefach, and the Gemara says it's mitzayir, or it was dug out, it's mitzayir for 1 and 9. And he thought it's pasha, but then when he learned our sugi, he saw it's not so simple, because when you look from the outside, it's only 9 tfachim, inside it's 10. Now he understands the sugi better, kiss from Hashem. Fine. So, what if you do half and half? Are the two halves mitzaref, like we asked, there's one aid who says b'fanei nechtav, and the other aid says b'fanei nechtav. It's not mitzaref. What about with washing your hands? Says the Gemara, we're going through a nice sugi here. Hechidami. What exactly means half and half? Two people, and this is going to be a big chiddush to a lot of people. Can 2 people wash? You fill up a revius, you do 96 milliliters in a netilas yadayim cup, and 2 people wash from that cup. Each one takes 40, what is it? 96, 45, 48, 48, and whatever, 48. Each one takes 48. Is that good enough or not? What do you say? You need 96, right? Wrong. Each one, as long as you fill up the cup, says the Gemara, here, that can't be the question that Ilf is asking. This would be a big kasha on those who wash, and you stand behind them in line and they're busy filling up more and more and more water. All you need is 1 revius to start out with, and even 2 people, if you start out with the right amount of shear, even 2 people. It seems like from the Rishonim, even if one person washed completely and he's done, and the other guy has 48 left over milliliters, he could also wash. The second guy could wash because he started out with the right shear. You know what's a gula for Parnassa? No, to learn Torah. Everybody has gulas for Parnassa. Learn Torah, it's gula for Parnassa. And not disturbing during shear, it's gula for Parnassa. What's the biggest gula? Not to say silly jokes in the middle of shir from the audience. I'm allowed to say whatever I want. Or to wash your hands 45 times, this and that. What's the biggest gula? No? Rabavi. 45 times? So you need to learn more Torah to understand that you're wrong. Says the Gemara. Hey chidami, ilay midakam Moshe Banda revius. Vatna revius nagdam yadayim lechav avilu shnai. Ve'ela the kamashi chada yadei. Perhaps his shiloh was like we do today. He washed one hand, and then he washed the other hand. The Gemara understood that somebody washes for you. Some guy pours, and you like a Levi, pours for the kayin, and you do both. Maybe if you do 1 and 1, it's no good. No, that can't be the question. It's not. I know the other ach has been a tila. He washes one hand from a cup. The ach has b'shtifa, and he puts one hand in. Oh, he actually did a. It's not, I don't like this so much because it's not so accurate, but here, let's see what he has here. Here, one hand binatila and one hand bishtifa. Now, this has to be 40 sa. Oh, I put the 40 sa in afterwards and it just, okay, now it came up. The Rashi says he's talking about a river. Fine. I don't know that this is the most accurate depiction of it, but you get the idea. One, he dunked into a 40 sa body of water like a river, and the other, he poured the water on. And what's the halacha? Yadav tahayrais, you're yaitze. In other words, you don't have to do both hands in the same time. They can be one after the other. Ve'ela, komashi palga diyadeh. So, Rabbi Isai, I wanted, this is a public service announcement. As usual, when we talk about Netilas Yadayim, I got to show you real quickly. Why is Netilas Yadayim so difficult for people? It seems like many people are not yaitze. Many. If you look around, you'll see Chazon Ish, Maises of the Chazon Ish, all different stories that the Chazon Ish said that people are really not yaitze. Somebody put up an invitation to a bris. This is how the story goes. You put up an invitation to a bris, and if you put up an invitation, you invite people to Susan, you have to come. So that's why people are not to invite for a bris. But he did. So some guy, he went to the Chazon Ish and said, Rebbe, do I have to go? I don't want to go. He says, don't worry. The people there are not hagun because they don't wash their hands properly. And Memela, you don't have to, something like that. I don't know if it's a true story, because there's another story. They say that if the Chazon Ish's stories are all true, it comes out that he lived 240 years or something. Because it's impossible that all those stories happen to a single human being. Anyway, so the reason why I put this on is because you must wash your hand, although lechatchila, a b'di'eved, it's up to the knuckles. But lechatchila, if you're washing your hands, you should go from here to here. Why is this so difficult? I don't know. Most people you'll watch people, they go like this and it comes up to here, to here. Go up to the wrist. Now, another problem is they don't want to get the sleeves wet. That's the threat. So, right over here, sometimes they miss, or in the middle they miss. That's the big issue. I think that's the big issue. But it says the Gemara like this. Yeah, finally. You'll bring water for Purim. Okay. Now, what happened was the guy went like this. Mamish like, oy. By the way, you can't get this tape in Eretz Yisrael, so I brought it all the way from America. It's the blue tape. They don't know about this stuff here, especially the Arabs. When they paint, it's a minig here, they paint like a wall, so they get a lot on the ceiling and a lot on the floor. So you say, what are you doing? No, we'll clean it afterwards. And nobody's ever cleaned it afterwards. So you go in all the buildings in Eretz Yisrael, there's always paint on the ceiling, paint on the floor. It's blue tape works. Anyway, so the guy pours the water over here, and then he wipes his hand. And then after that's done, he goes like this. He tapes it up with blue tape, and he goes like this. And then he washes this part. So it's two parts, the same hand, two parts. But each time he wiped it down. Says the Gemara, if that's the case, that doesn't work. That's for sure no good. So what's the first question? I'm going to leave this on. We're talking about that the half a hand that he did remained slightly moist. And then when he did the other half, the mitzdarif, the two halves come together. Why? Because one half has a little bit of moisture, and the other hand he just poured a lot of water on. You know what, I'll take it off, I'll show you. Okay, first he washed over here. Okay, so now he puts the blue tape on. Where the blue tape is, it's slightly moist. So then when he goes and he washes the other half, it's a good wash. Why? Because this moist and full wash, it's mitzdarif. Says the Gemara, but wait a minute, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. It says in the Mishnah, Daf Amud Aleph, Hanitzoik v'katafres. This, Rabbi Yosef, gives me a lot of honor to look at these depictions that Yoshi made, the beautiful stuff, just to look at. Nitzoik is on the right, katafres is on the left. It's the same idea. They're identical. So let's just see one. Katafres, you see that the wine from the top pit is spilling down a wall into the bottom pit. The bottom pit is tameh, the top pit is tar. So there's a connection between the two. If it was electric, you'd get electrocuted if you're on the top. But benegeh to the halacha of tumah and tahara, the wine on the bottom doesn't send and doesn't connect to the top well of or whatever, that pit of water of wine, even though the bottom one is tumah, and even though they're connected through the wine that's going down here. Here's the wine going down, you see? That doesn't create a connection. The same exact thing, same halacha with a nitzog, just it's not going on a wall. Here you have a stream of wine from a tar barrel going into the bottom barrel, and they don't connect halachically. So if they don't connect halachically, so why would your moist fingers over here connect halachically to your non-moist fingers that you're pouring water on the top of your hand? Huh? Oh, yeah. So over here it says mefurish mashke. So what you have here is two. This would have been better. Whatever. It's my bad. This would have been a better drawing for us. Just to understand the sugya. But two mikvahs next to each other. Each one doesn't have 40 sa, and they connect through a mashke tefeach, moisture. That is not enough to connect the two mikvahs. Eini chibur leilu tuma v'leilu tahara. So if you have tummy food in one, liquids doesn't go to the other bar. And if you want to use one mikvah to be toivel yourself and only has 30 sa, let's say, and it's connected to another mikvah bar that has another 10 saw, 20 saw, it's not a good mikvah. So why is it good for washing your hands when netilas yadayim? Says the Gemara, Leitzricha, the ikka toifeach lahatfiach. This has so much moisture, like I love this mashal, I can't get it out of my head. Anybody that learned in the mirror, went to the bathroom there, knows they have towels hanging on the wall. Those towels are tefeach amanas lahatfiach. They have a lot of moisture in them from all the people that wipe their hands down on them, to the point that when you wipe your hands on the towels, it's very recommended to wash your hands in the sink. Especially, and I'm not, you know this, and if you've been there, you know, I'm not making this up, there are people that blow their noses into those towels. So, Lamaisa has, I'm saying MS, what do you mean? You learned in the mirror, and you've never seen it. You weren't hanging around in the bathroom. Ask Avi. He likes to hang out in the bathroom. Ask him. Avi, have you seen it? You never went to the mirror. Anybody learned in the mirror and saw it? Anybody here?
The towels are 100% true.
The towels are 100% true. Yes. I actually do have, I have a picture of the towels there. No, but this is, some guy's selling it. I just looked it up on the internet. If the guy's selling it. You could buy these towels. They go in a circle. The kilo fool you. You sell 2 towels together, but he sells it. It's a lot of money. It's like guaranteed to save you money on the towels, on the paper towel stuff. Okay. I go bought him. So Tiferet Hamas Latfiach, just seriously, in terms of halacha, means that there's enough moisture. Let's say you take a plastic thing and you touch the object. Now there's enough moisture over here that if you touch something else, you'll see the moisture. Oh. So here's the suffix. It's the exact same thing. Asks Ilfa a question. What if I wash my hands up until here, then I dried it off, and then I only wash this part of my hand, and then I dry whatever. I don't have to dry it. You should dry it off. Do the 2 washings of the hand connect? Now the first washing, I didn't dry it off completely. There's enough moisture on it that it's so moist that it could make something else moist. It's toifeach amanas latpiach, and then I went ahead and I washed the second part of my hand. Do those 2 things, are they mitzdarif to washing your hands? Says Gemara, why would he ask a question that we learned already? We learned specifically if there's that much moisture, then it's considered a chibur for washing your hands. Says the Gemara, maybe that whole halacha is only for a mikvah, Rabbi Yehudi. Now, Rabbi Yehuda says halacha, very interesting. If you learned with us Sukkah, Eruvin, so there's a concept called good achis mechista, or good achis. Good achis means bring it downwards. Good asik means bring it upwards. So over here, for instance, in this case, you don't have 4 walls around this pergola, so you pretend that the rim around the pergola, the top part, goes all the way down. Halachically, it creates a halachic mechitza. So over here also, he's saying good achis, the water should go downwards and connect. It's halacha lo Moshe Sinai. Says Gemara, Dilma mikvais Rabbi Yehuda, and this is halacha from Rabbi Yehuda. This not, and I'm going to show you how it works in a second in a picture. This not mikvah yesh be'arba'im saw mechuvanois. You have a mikvah that's exactly 40 saw to the drop. In other words, if a person goes into the mikvah and he has a bunch of water on him when he comes out, because that's what happens when you go into a mikvah, you are immediately going to have a mikvah that's slightly less than 40 saw, and it's completely possible for a mikvah. V'yardu shnayim v'tavlu, and 2 people, here's the picture. You ready? Here's a mikvah of 40 saw, and 2 people went in, and they both came out. What's the halacha? They're both tar. Why? Because when they were both in the mikvah simultaneously, and when they were in the mikvah simultaneously, there was 40 saw, so they're both kosher. But what if it's bezeh achar zeh? Here's the thing. First goes in yasi. Now when he comes out, it's no longer 40 saw, it's 39.5. He's tar, he has on him a half a saw of water, let's say. Now comes this other guy, who's tamei, goes into the mikvah with the get, comes out, he's still tamei. Why? Because he went into mikvah that's only 39.5 saw. Rishon Tov Asheni Tameh. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, now check this out. Says Rabbi Yehuda, look at this case. Here comes Yossi. goes into the mikvah, comes out of the mikvah, but he's floating on top of the mikvah. He's still touching the mikvah. So what do we have? We have a mikvah that only has 39. He only has 39 and a half saw. 39 and a half saw in the mikvah, a half a saw on Yossi and a shtreimel. But because he's touching the water, we're going to say that the water on him goes downwards. Good achis. And it's as if it's in the mikvah. And memela, when this other guy comes in, I don't know what his name is. Whatever his name is, he's a nice frum guy with payas and a beard, very smart individual. He is tar because he just went into mikvah of 40 saw. The second one is also tar. Oh, so memela. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, we say good achis. We still have a shaila. Because you're asking me, maybe we say good achis on hands. Says the Gemara, no, maybe we don't say good achis on your hands when you wash. Maybe you only say good achis when it comes to mikvah in this case, but not on the hands. That's why Ilfa asked this question, do we say good achis on hands? You washed half your hand and there's moisture enough to make something else wet. Is that mitzdarif to the other part of your hand for netilas yadayim? The bottom line is, Rabbi say after all this, you should wash your hands correctly if possible, especially tell your spouses, and a lot of times the girls don't know these halachas. I see a lot of my guests, they go, like it's the Yom Kippur, like they only do the top of the fingers kind of thing, and a little, like water is very cheap these days, especially if you filled up the whole thing, you're going to pour the rest out. What's the difference? Omar Rabbi Yirmiyah. Harei Amru. Haba roishoy v'ruba b'mayim shu'uvim. If a person goes as toivel himself in water that's drawn water, not make shamim, not from rainwater, or let's say a guy took a shower with 3 lug of water, tame. So Rashi says these are from the 18 halachas that were done that night that day in the attic, when the talmidim of Beis Shammai were more than the talmidim of Yisrael, and they came up with these 18 halachas. That what? The idea is that we're concerned that if people go into the mikvah, now don't take this literally until today, and we'll talk about today. You go into the mikvah, and Rashi says they used to go into very disgusting waters in caves. That's where they had their mikvahs. Obviously, they didn't have filtration and all that. So it's really terrible water, smelly water. So immediately after dunking yourself in the mikvah, they would go and take a nice shower. Eventually what happened was, people, the Amaratzim, started thinking that the shower is what's matire them, not the mikvah. So they cut out the first part. Yeah, this is what happened. Why go into the smelly water and take a shower? Let's just take a shower straight. So they made a takana that if you take a shower afterwards, you're tameh. If it's that day that you went into the mikvah and you poured on yourself, you go into the mikvah to Maim Shuvim, tameh. And in general, if you take a shower of Shalish Lugin, you're tameh. Okay, now, Bizman Hazeh, the Ramah says that you should not take a shower. There's people that say you shouldn't take a shower after you go to the mikvah, so you should be machmer on it. The Vilna Gaon brings a lot of shittas, and he says that whoever takes a shower after the mikvah has nothing to worry about. But whoever's machmer, tovei of bracha. I think b'derech klal the Hasidim are machmer. They take a shower beforehand in order not to make the water dirty for other people, courtesy. Huh? All Hasidim, 99.9 Hasidim, take showers beforehand, and then they don't, because also they want the water, the kedusha of the water to remain on them. There's another problem of taking a shower before davening, doing yitzrachim before davening. So they don't take a shower before, after, usually. Now, huh? Some do.
I spoke to a Rebbe.
Yeah.
He says fine shower after.
It is fine, but they want the extra chumer. But I don't know, whatever. Some chasim do, some chasim don't, huh?
They think they're COVID because they thought that the women needed to have to return to the mikvah, that women needed to get out of them afterwards.
Well, COVID is a whole different story. That's people like Tomer or whatever. A lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are not religious in Eretz Yisrael that go to the mikvah, and during COVID they stopped, and it's a big problem. They didn't come back. But what about that discussion of a mikvah of Doiraisa? So they say l'chayr you don't have to. I think there are people that are machmer not to take a shower afterwards, but you don't have to. And what did I say here? Yeah, okay. So by men there were machmer. It's a stam. There's a story about the Ger Rebbe that he had a guy sleeping in his house for a while, and he asked him, "You go to the mikveh every day?" He says, "Avad, I go to the mikveh." And then it turns out he goes to the mikveh every day, but he doesn't go into the mikveh. He just uses it for the shower. But okay, fine. Zog the Gemara. So as Rabbi Yirmiyah, by Rabbi Yirmiyah, based on what we just learned that you shouldn't use water and everything, by Rabbi Yirmiyah, chetzi b'biyah, what if he went into a bathtub of drawn water, v'chetzi b'nefila mai, and then 3 lug fell on half his body. Half his body is in the mikveh. Half his body had 3 lug fall on him. Is that a problem or not? Now, if you notice, it's Rabbi Yirmiyah, and Rabbi Yirmiyah, starting from Eilu Metzias and other places in Shas, he always asks these very interesting questions, like different ukimtas, different things. Okay, he's l'shitasa. So the Gemara, Omar Rav Pop, Teiku, we don't know. Yeah, because a lot of times these kind of questions, technical questions like that, and now we have another one. Omar Rav Pop, Ari Omru, Balkeri Chayla, Shenasnu Olav Tisha Kabim Mayim Tahar. Interesting halacha. I don't know if everybody's familiar, but it's a famous halacha that even Bizman Azeh, if you can't get to the mikvah, person who's a Balkari can't get to the mikvah, you could use Tisha Kabim of Maim Shuvim, meaning you take a shower. They say it's approximately 4 minutes. I once did the calculation for Tisha Kabim, came out to 2 minutes. I don't know exactly why they say 4 minutes, maybe for Chumro. Depends on the. I know, but I'm saying different pressure. My shower, it's 1 minute. I get it. I was doing like it. Fine, 4 minutes. But I guess because some people have really bad. If you live in an apartment building, you have these guys in all these properties. They always come to sell you these devices. You know, you could save a lot of water over a year. You could save $400 million if you put this one little device. Like I never paid more than $100,000 for water. No, you could save $200,000 if you put a little thing in there, and it fools all the tenants. And meanwhile, the tenants chop right away and they take it off and they throw it in the garbage, whatever. Fine. So depending on the pressure, 4 minutes of a shower water is also metar a person if there's no other mikvah. So it says the Gemara, Balkari, who's a chayla. Now what happened? Ezra said that you cannot learn Torah if you're a Balkari. You have to go to the mikvah. It's a takanas Ezra. So he says, but if a person is sick, he can't get to the mikvah. It's dangerous for him to go to the mikvah. So he should use Tisha Kab and Mayim Tar. Reb David, Shalom Aleichem. How are you? I haven't seen you. I didn't notice you. Shalom Aleichem. Welcome back. Tar, by Rav Papa. So as Rav Papa, the same question. Chetzi b'tvila v'chetzi b'nesina mai. We have a good picture, I think. Hold on, let's find it. Oh, here. Check this out. Oh no. You ready? What's the problem? Is going to Zoom? Here, let's just do this real quickly. Here's a guy. He's half in the mikvah and half with Maim Shuvim. What's the halacha? That's Republic. The same thing as we had before. Teiku. Now, I want to ask the Olam HaShayla. Here we have half Maim Shuvim, half mikvah. Does it work? What about, is this question I'm about to ask, is it similar to what we're learning? What if a person puts on his head tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam, and on his hand he puts tefillin of Rashi? Is it the same kind of question or not the same kind of question? What? Oh, says Rachman Mamish Moyer. I think that's what some of the Sfarim say. That's 2 separate mitzvahs, no connection. Over here we're talking about one tefillah. I want to be one tahar through 2 types of waters. One is mikveh water, one is 9 kav of shuvim. But over here I'm doing 2 mitzvahs, rosh and yad. But then the same people that say that, they say, but wait a minute. The Rosh says that according to Rashi, Rabbeinu Tam is completely puzzle. And according to Rabbeinu Tam, Rashi is completely puzzle. So then you're doing a steer mineu bay, and you're according to both, the other one is puzzle. So you're not yoytze like We had in the Mishnah, Echad says b'fanei nechtav, and Echad says b'fanei nechtam. Yeah? One Avi factor, shlufen, geschmack, he testifies on the top, and the Rashiva testifies on the bottom. Echad b'fanei nechtav, Echad b'fanei nechtav. What happened? You went to sleep late? Busy doing chesed. Okay. So I just want to show you real quickly. This is our sugya al regel achas with a few more details. What happens if two people bring a get and they're shlichim? They were sent by the husband to bring the get, and they don't say b'fanei nechtav b'fanei nechtam. So we have two contradicting lashonos. נחama says it's 100% kosher, and they're going according to Rava that says the problem is to be mekayim the get. So I have two edim here. They can be mekayim the get all day long. What's the problem? The second lashon says it's possible because they hold like Rabbah, and somebody has to testify that the get was lishma. Nobody testified. Nobody said anything. They were just shlichim. They brought it. So let's see inside. Omer Rav Shmuel bar Yuda, Omer Rabbi Yochanan. In the name, both of these lashonos are in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. This case right over here, when you have, this is not working. It's slow. This case of the reason why it's puzzle in the Mishnah is because you don't have, they weren't both messengers. Only one out of the two was a messenger. Let's say Dr. Factor was the messenger, the Rashiva wasn't. But if the get came and they were both sent by the husband, kosher. Even though they did not say b'fanei nechtav or b'fanei nechtam, it's kosher. You see what's going on here? Both of them were sent by the husband, kosher. Sponsored by the Friedman family for our sisters, נחמה bas Pנחas Eliazer, Yibal Chaim and Chana Etel, Yibal Chaim bas Yibal Chaim Pנחas Eliazer. We're going to Zoom or not? Let's try it, huh? It's late. Let's do it. The guy's waiting already for a week. Oh, here he is. Shalom Aleichem. Do you hear us? Hold on. I see you. Now.
You hear me?
Yes. You got 20 seconds. What do you got? Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Where are you from?
Menachem Shalom, I'm going to from Las Vegas, Nevada. And
Las
I'm
Vegas.
I've been learning Daf Yomi on MTY Zoom since Yoma. It has afforded me the opportunity to learn Gemara again after 50 years.
50 years?
High school I learned it in high school under the stewardship of Jack Foreman's father. And this Daf Yomi also gives me a chance to keep up to par with my son Rafi. Because, why? Because Rav Eli keeps me awake. Because he keeps it so alive with all the chat charts, all of the visuals, all of the singing, his corny jokes.
Corny jokes.
And also, he welcomes people back after they tell us.
Cut him off, Gary. All right, you still have 50 years. So Mamish changed your life. All right, Givaldi. All right, Yishkoyach. Okay, now we know who he is. He's from Las Vegas, and he didn't learn in 50 years. Givaldi. Seaman Vegas. I usually don't come to Sion for less than 500 people, but for Vegas we'll come.
I'll come to that.
Yeah. Okay, Givaldi. Alma Kosova says the Gemara. We have 7 minutes from Amud Beis, which is plenty of time. Alma Kosova Shnayim Shiviu get me Medinas Hayom Ein Tzrichim Shiyayimru B'Fanenu Nechtav B'Fanenu Nechtam. You see from here, because the Gemara understands that when the two are together, it's kosher, even if they don't say B'Fanei Nechtav or B'Fanei Nechtav. Again, it's going according to Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rava, that the main part is to be Mekayim the shtar, and therefore, if there's one consistent thing here throughout the whole sugya, and this is Avi Factor threw it out yesterday in middle shir. the idea is that we shouldn't confuse get with, we shouldn't make a mistake with other stars and think, oh, one person is enough. But when a person says something funny, which you don't say in other stars, you're not going to confuse the two. Okay, that's the theme here, confusing the two, not confusing the two. I'll go upon him. If it's true that when two people bring a get from Medina Sayyam, they don't have to say this case right over here, Rabbi Isai, two witnesses testify on the ksiva on the top of the get that it was done. Because they're not both testifying on the entire get. Two are testifying about the top part of the get, one is testifying about the bottom part of the get, it's possible. Says the Gemara, time of day and get Yosef. According to what you just told me, it's because they are not shlichim of the husband. But had they been shlichim of the husband, it would have been a good get. Okay. According to you, it must be, Abaye proves, it must be that the get did not come from two shlichim. The husband didn't send them. They witnessed it, but he didn't send them. Because had he sent them, it would have been a kosher get. According to what you just said. Two Eidim come, they don't even have to say it's kosher. Yeah, you're right. So then the Gemara asks, Abaye continues his question. If so, how do you explain Rabbi Yehuda? B'may pligi means, what's the svar of one of them? Meaning, what's the svar of Rabbi Yehuda? How in the world could Rabbi Yehuda say that a get that only has one witness, one shliach, and neither of the shlichim over here, or from all three, nobody said b'fanei nechtam. Nobody could say that. One guy could say b'fanei nechtam, the other two could say b'fanei nechtav, but you don't have one individual that could say b'fanei nechtav u b'fanei nechtam. So how in the world could Yehuda say that get is kosher? Isn't there a problem? You're going to confuse it with other stars of the world and make other stars kosher in such a case? Says the Gemara. But my plea means, how does Rabbi Yehuda say such a case is kosher? Says the Gemara, now, Umar Sovar lo gezrinon. The Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda is not concerned in this case because we have two Eidim on the top testifying to that. So people are not going to confuse regular stars and say, they're going to say, look, this is a funny star anyway to begin with. There's two on the top, one on the bottom. No concern that people are going to get confused. And Memela, he says, such a star is kosher. Now, Lishna Achrina, so let's just go back to this thing, so we have it clear. Lishna Kama says, when two Eidim bring a get from Chutz La'aretz, they don't even have to say b'fanei nechtam, it's kosher, because we're going that kiyum of the star is the most important thing, of the get. The Lishna Bas is going to tell us, no, according to Rabbi Yochanan, such a get is possible, even if two Eidim brought it, and again, because the concern is of Rabbah. Rabbah, the whole reason why we have b'fanei nechtav is for Lishma. Over here we have a problem with Lishma. So let's see inside. Lishna Achrina, Amri Lo, 10 lines from the top. Over Rabbi Shmuel bar Yudah, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, again Rabbi Yochanan, Filu get yoytze mitachas yidei shneim, even if the get came from two Eidim, from two shlichim, pasol. Alma kasavar, shnaim sheviu gabim this hayom, tzrichim sheyem b'fanei nechtam. The reason why it's possible, because they didn't say b'fanei nechtam. If they say it, then nobody will confuse this kind of get with a star. Everything is reversed from what we said before. Let me just get to there. Here we go. Even if they were both Eidim, shlichim, two shlichim came, it would be possible. They didn't say b'fanei nechtam. Yeah, you're right. But what is the svar of Rabbi Yehuda? Says the Gemara, Ma sovar lefi she'en bekim l'shma, and this reminds us of, the famous machlokes. Ma sovar lefi she'en bekim l'shma. Chachamim are going to say that the problem is l'shma. And they didn't say anything. These two shlichim, they didn't say b'fanei nechtam. Yes, they're shlichim, but they must say something. They must say that it's l'shma. They didn't. So maybe it's possible. Umar Savar Rabbi Yehuda holds the problem is Rava of Eidim. You need kiyum Eidim. And guess what? You have perfect Eidim here. 2 shlichim are 2 Eidim. Great. Says the Gemara, if so, it comes out that the machlokes of Rabbi Yehuda, a Tana, and the Chachamim is a machlokes of Amoraim of Rabba and Rava. And that's very problematic because Rabba and Rava never mention Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim. It's as if they made up their own machlokes. Rabba says, oh, I hold the problem is Lishma. And Rava says, I think the problem is Eidim. Rava should say, I hold like Rabbi Yehuda that lived hundreds of years before me, who says that the problem is Eidim. He never mentions it. So it's impossible to say that. No, you're right. It's a big problem. MMA says the Gemara. Rava mitaris klish nekama. So Rava, check this out. Now that we go back to this chart, it's a little bit easier to understand. Rava is going to just say pshat in this whole machlokes is like the klish nekama. That what? That it's kosher. That Eidim that bring a get, the shlichim. If they're shlichim, it's kosher. Why? Because I have a kiyum shtar. I have a kiyum get. I have 2 Eidim who say that they brought it in. They don't even have to say b'fanei nechtam, b'fanei nechtam. There's no problem with Shema according to Rava. The problem is kiyum. Here, I have 2 Eidim that are going to testify that the get is a good get. Rabba Amar Loch, and Rabba is going to say, and why does Rabbi Yehuda say that it's okay? He's not choishish that you're going to confuse the 2 star with a regular star. Rabba Amar Loch, the kuli alma b'inin l'shma. No. Rabba, of course, is going to hold like himself. The what? Rabba says l'shma. Once Bavel, whatever, the Chutzlars, they learned how to say l'shma. Yeah. Okay. The Lachar Shalamdu. So the whole machlokes is, are we concerned that in a place in Chutzlars that they learned about l'shma, are we concerned that today, even though they know about l'shma, they still have to say b'fanei nechtam, b'fanei nechtam? Why? Because maybe it'll go back to where it used to be. The Marsav Gezrin Chacham hold that you have to be choishish about the future. Marsav Gezrin, today they know about the Shema. They don't have to say b'fanei nechtam, b'fanei nechtam. Ask the Gemara. Now let me just go back to here. What case is this? Oh, you see this case? Ask the Gemara. V'lifloig nami Rabbi Yehuda bereisha. In this case, when one person says b'fanei nechtam and the other person says b'fanei nechtam, right? What's the halacha? Pasul. Ask the Gemara. There's l'shma. We have a l'shma here. We know it's l'shma. And what's the whole problem? That maybe they're going to go back to kilkul. They're not going to go back to kilkul. It's not going to. We're not worried about that. One day they're going to go back. You're right. He does argue in that case, and he says that case is kosher. Rabbi Yehuda, according to this, only argues in this case. And only in this case, Shnayim say, 2 say nechtav, and 1 says nechtav. In that case, he says kosher. Mashma, that in the case, echad and echad, he doesn't argue. My love, l'muti echad b'fanei nechtav, echad b'fanei nechtav. Loi, l'muti b'fanei nechtav, avaloi b'fanei nechtav. It's coming to exclude this case, where he says, I only saw the signatures and I didn't see the writing. Says the Gemara, I thought maybe in this case, what happened? He didn't see the writing of the get. He saw the chasimus of the get. So I would think, but since Rabbi Yehuda is not concerned at all in the case that we discussed before, that it might go back, even though they know about Lishma, but maybe one day they'll forget about Lishma. Maybe in this case, he's also not goyzer kamashmalon itmanami. And now finally, we'll finish on with this. The Gemara says, just like the second lashon. Here, let's go back to the second lashon. What's the second lashon? They have 2 Eidim bring a get from Chutz La'aretz. They're shlichim. They are messengers of the husband, and they didn't say b'fanei nechtam, b'fanei nechtam. It's possible. So here we go. Itmanami Omer Rav Yehuda Shnayim Sheviu. Here the shlichim get Mimdinas Hayom Banon Machlokes Rav Yehuda V'Rabbanan. So we have. It's not so posh that it's kosher. We have Machlokes. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day.